This video is going to look at the multi-store model of memory. Now your specification states you've got to know about the different stores within the multi-store model. So the sensory, short-term and long-term memory. But you've also got to know the coding, capacity and duration of each of these stores. Now here's just a quick little image of what it would look like, the multi-store model. You've got these three stores: sensory, short-term and long-term memory. But before we go on, we've got to make sure we understand some key terms. So anytime we talk about coding, this is how information is encoded, how it's stored there. Capacity is how much information can be stored, and duration is how long information can be stored there. So the first part we're going to look at is the sensory memory. Now this is everything you see, hear, anytime you're using your senses to pick up information about the environment. Now what we pay attention to is then passed on, just like the model shown earlier, passed on to our short-term memory. Now the capacity of our sensory memory is very large. So if you think about your eyes, you've got millions of cells in your eyes picking up light, movement, etc. But information only really stays there for milliseconds unless it's given that focused attention. And encoding depends on how we receive that information. So if we see something, that would usually get encoded visually. Next is our short-term memory. This is any information that is not rehearsed in our short-term memory gets forgotten, or we use the word decayed, and can be replaced by new incoming information. So information only really stays in our short-term memory for about 18 to 30 seconds. And we can hold 7 plus or minus 2, so between 5 and 9 chunks or pieces of information. And encoding is mainly acoustic. It's based on sound. So our short-term memory encodes information acoustically. Next we've got our long-term memory. Now our long-term memory, information that's processed deeply, so if we prolong rehearse it or we go over something again and again and again, it goes from our short-term memory into our long-term memory. Now we can hold information here for up to a lifetime, and the capacity is potentially unlimited. And as we saw in Badley's study previously, we encode information semantically. Our long-term memory bases or stores information based on its meaning. Now here's a nice little table for you just to get down. Make sure you got it in your notes. Gives you a little bit of information on the coding, capacity and duration of each of the stores.